Tyopev of the Center for Innovation in Procurement, Environmental and Social Standards. Our module today is on procurement systems and procedures. In this module, we're going to consider 5 topics. 1, we'll look at the concept of procurement systems. We'll look at procurement planning and strategy. And we'll also look at procurement methods and then procurement framework. The learning objectives of this module are that at the end of the module, participants will be able to understand what is a procurement system. Participants will also understand what is procurement planning and strategy, and the basic procedures in public procurement, as well as the public procurement framework. The expected outcome of this module is that participants are expected to know the essentials of a procurement system, procurement planning strategies, procurement procedures, as well as the public procurement framework. So a procurement system is simply a function of an effective planning and execution of operations related to contractual acquisition of external inputs. And these inputs can be goods, works, services. Such services can be non-consultancy services and consultancy services. So what is a procurement system? It is simply a detailed process of acquiring goods, works, and services. And it can be a standard procurement system, or it can be an e-procurement system, electronic procurement system. So a procurement system is very concerned with how we generate purchase orders, or do you generate purchase orders for what you require for goods, works, and services, sending purchase requisitions, approving delivered services and goods, selecting and managing vendors, reviewing invoices. A typical procurement system comprises of the information control system, where designers of what you want, if it is goods, works, or services, have the information, basic information on what the facility owners require. Vendors or contractors share from the information. Manufacturers of what you require as a procuring entity shares from information. And information is shared through the internet. So globally, one can access information concerning a procuring entity and its requirements. So a procurement system typically is a computerized system. It's designed to manage the procurement process. So an electronic procurement or e-procurement is a process of requisitioning, ordering, and purchasing goods and services. So a procurement system basically is aimed at achieving best value for money. And what do we mean by best value for money? It's a combination of cost, quality, sustainability from any goods, work, or service that a procuring entity acquires. It's also concerned with fairness, integrity, transparency. These are key tenets in the provisions of the law on public procurement. And then effective international competition. You get your goods, works, and services competitively. The interests of the contractor, the suppliers, must also be factored into the system. Typical value for money, cost, value. So there are stages in the procurement system. First, it starts with needs recognition, needs assessment. You have to know the procurement entity's needs. Then purchase requisition. You have to look for requests for proposals, quotations, that is purchase for requisition. Then review of requests, you review them. Then budget approval. This involves stakeholders to approve the budget. Quotation requests from vendors or contractors. Negotiation and contracts. Negotiate with the vendors or contractors. Receive goods and services. Then the 3-way matching, invoice approval payments, and record keeping for future procurement. The same procurement process, as you can see it. Then the e-procurement system, implementation, management, changes, structures, changes to total acquisition cost, changes to organizational characteristics. The total impact of e-procurement is assessed. So next, we look at the advantages and disadvantages of e-procurement. E-procurement has several advantages. One of it is that it improves speed. Work is automated, so it moves faster than when it is done manually. Then there's better visibility of the procuring entity and good business transactions. And softwares are also used for tracking vendors and even over your requisitions. Then guided buying. But it also has some disadvantages. One, the system is prone to automation errors. Another one is that the softwares are very, very expensive. And then it needs continuous updating. So our next topic is on procurement planning and strategy. What is procurement planning? Procurement planning simply means all the processes that are involved in the procurement, all the steps that are involved in the procurement process. It starts from your needs. What are the needs of the procuring entity? And the needs are either in form of goods, works, or services. So carrying out an appropriate market assessment surveys is very, very important also in the procurement planning process. Then sourcing for vendors, sourcing for contractors is another key aspect. So you put all these aspects together in the procurement planning process, you consider them, and this, in Section 18 of the Public Procurement Act 2007, all these steps are enumerated on the procurement planning process. So in the procurement planning too, choosing the category of procurement is very, very important. What category of procurement? Is it goods? Is it works? Is it services? In all this, there are basic provisions in the Public Procurement Act, and in public procurement, these provisions must be followed to the letter. So, doing market assessment analysis is very, very important in the procurement planning process, because it is only through that you can be able to assess the market, identify suppliers, know the cost, seek for quotations, make estimates, and review price databases. So choosing the method of procurement is also very, very important. For goods, there are various methods for goods. There are methods for non-consultant services, and there are methods for works. Choosing a method for procurement of goods, it needs international or national competitive bidding. And there's a threshold of 100 million and above. This can be done through international or national competitive bidding. But if the threshold is 2.5 million and above, it is national competitive bidding. That is 2.5 million and above, but less than 100 million. Shopping or market survey, less than 2.5 million. This one you can source around your local area, 2.5 million. That's the maximum you can do that. The single source or direct contracting, less than 0.25 million, or 250,000 naira. Then for works, it can be done through international or national competitive bidding, and the threshold is 1 billion and above. And for national competitive bidding, it is 2.5 million and above. And then shopping is less than 2.5 million, and single source or direct contracting is less than 0.25 million. Then for non-consulting services, it can be done through international or national competitive bidding, and the threshold is 100 million naira and above, and the national competitive bidding, the threshold is 2.5 million and above, but less than 100 million. Then shopping or market survey, less than 2.5 million, and then single source direct contracting, less than 0.25 million. The next topic is procurement methods. Here there are various types of methods for each category of procurement. If it is goods, the law provides for supply of specific goods, supply and erection of supervision, then supply and erect, then semi-turnkey. We have turnkey, licensing and engineering, build, operate and transfer, build, own, operate, transfer, framework contracts, which is rate contracts. Then for works, we have bill of quantities, unit price, add measurement. Also have lump sum, we have design, build, and then turnkey. For consulting services, we have time-based, which is construction supervision, construction supervision is time-based. Then for studies, engineering, design, architecture, lump sum. Then indefinite delivery, like legal assistance, legal services, indefinite delivery. Then we have percentage for architecture. Then we have legal investment for retainer. Then for goods, the bidding documents issued by the Bureau of Public Procurement are basically procurement of goods for goods. Then national shopping. For works, we have procurement of works and procurement of small works. Then for services, we have complex assignments lump sum, we have complex assignments time-based, and we have small assignments lump sum, we have small assignments time-based, and individual consultants. So choosing the approving authority based on the provisions of public procurement law, BPP issues no objection to award to Federal Executive Council approval of 100 million and above. This one can be done by the Federal Executive Council. Then for works, 500 million and above. For non-consulting services, 100 million and above. And consulting services, 100 million and above. So in the Ministerial Standards Board, the threshold is 5 million and above. Then for works, it's 10 million and above, but less than 500 million. Then for non-consulting services, it is 5 million and above, but less than 100 million. And then for consulting services, the threshold is 5 million and above, but less than 100 million. For parasitas boards, the threshold is 2.5 million and above. And for works, 5 million and above, but less than 250 million. And for non-consulting services, the threshold is 2.5 million and above, but less than 50 million naira. For consulting services, it's 2.5 million and above, but less than 50 million. We have a threshold for accounting officers, PAM secretary, accounting officers, directors generals as well. An average procurement cycle. What is a procurement cycle? That's the timeline for a procurement system, from needs assessment up to the time the goods or works or services are delivered to a procuring entity. The general elements of the procurement cycles are determining procurement needs. That's the first step, developing a procurement strategy, identifying potential suppliers, negotiating the best price, approving purchase requests, maintaining procurement software, purchasing goods, and adhering to company values. So in summary, a procurement cycle carefully follows these guidelines in procurement planning. And the essence is for value for money. So the intent of any sound public procurement law is to provide end users with a sufficient number of procurement methods that can best fit every potential scenario of procurement. So, and these methods are based on UNCITRAL, United Nations Commission for International Trade Law. In Article 27 of the United Nations Modern Law, it lists several steps, several methods of public procurement. One is open tendering. We have restricted tendering. We also have requests for quotations, and we have requests for proposals without negotiation. We have two-stage tendering. We have requests for proposals with dialogue. We have requests for proposals with consecutive negotiations, competitive negotiations, electronic reverse auction, single source procurement, and framework agreement. But the default method that is most preferred by any nation is the open tendering system. However, in case of emergency, there are several cases where there's a mixed method of this mixed method that is applied in public procurement. So for goods, works, and non-consulting services, open competitive bidding is one of the methods. Then international competitive bidding is one of the methods, and then we have national competitive bidding and others. We also have restricted tendering, two-stage tendering, direct procurement, emergency procurement, direct labor, force account, are also all applied in non-consulting services. Then there are types of bidding documents that are used in these methods. For goods, there are two types of bidding documents. We have instruction to bidders and bid data sheets, and this applies to works as well. For consulting services, we have 5 types of documents. One is instruction to consultants, proposal data sheets. Then we have qualification and evaluation criteria. We have the technical proposal forms, and then financial proposal forms. Then And it's also important to note that the Bureau of Public Procurement has set the thresholds for which procurements shall fall under in either of the systems. Any system that you're using, there's a threshold for which these methods can be applied. So our last topic of discussion in this module is public procurement framework. The public procurement framework is based on the ancestral model law on public procurement of goods, works, and services. So many countries across the globe who are members of the Nigerian United Nations, who are members of the United Nations, the last model, the last topic of this module is public procurement framework. And this public procurement framework is based on the United Nations Commission on International Trade Law. This model law lays the foundation for the legal framework of all nations that wants to improve on their public procurement system. So Nigeria, being a member of the United Nations, adopted this law and passed an act, the National Assembly, called the Public Procurement Act 2007. This Public Procurement Act 2007 established a regulatory body for procurement in Nigeria. That body is called the Bureau of Public Procurement. It was established by the Public Procurement Act 2007. And then in the law, there's provision for other institutions that are very relevant in the procurement system in the country. One is the Ministry of Finance. That's the engine house of budgets in the country. So Ministry of Finance is part of the institutions and bodies in the country that are actively involved in the procurement system. We also have the Office of Accountant General because payments have to be made. We also have the Office of Auditor General because the law makes a provision that there must be fairness, there must be equity, and procurement should be done devoid of corruption. So auditors are the ones responsible to check whether these things have been followed based on the provisions of the law. We also have the Nigerian National Tenders Board. At the state level, states which have adopted these public procurement acts and acted in their own various states also have state ministerial boards for public procurement. These are main institutions that are involved in the public procurement system in Nigeria. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for listening.